Hi, I'm Nikki, the Obsessive Bookseller. Welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to review Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first of his secret projects, which honestly I am probably the last one on the internet to be talking about it who intended to, seeing as the fourth one has just dropped. But you know, I got this copy and I was like, I don't know if it seems like a book that I'm really excited to read. I nominated it for Patreon Book Club thinking, okay, if they pick it, then I'll have to pick it up. So that's a good way to force myself to read it. I thought it was going to be like a 3-star, like, oh, that was fun, move on with my life, really unmemorable type of story. What I was not expecting was a slam dunk. I loved it. What he did with the magic system and the spores, it was just like wildly creative, so much fun, very quintessential Sanderson magic systems that you just love. And explored in enough detail that I felt really satisfied after having read it, to the point where I want more books set in this realm. Like, I thought it was just super fun. The cheekiness factor, it was almost stupid on occasion, but he managed to straddle that line without fully going there. Especially because the dumb humor was always tied into something really intelligent going on kind of behind the humor, and I liked that. It wasn't just in there just to be stupid, it was in there for a purpose. Like kind of a weird way of communicating, if you will. And for me, it all hinged on where the story landed. Was it worth all the page count? Destination before journey, if you will? And it was totally worth it. I love the ending to this book to the point where I almost want to go back and reread it just so I can get that payoff again. Like, I loved a few things that got turned completely on their head. I loved that it made me look at the entire book through a different lens. And most of all, I'm glad that it reinvigorated my excitement for this author's works again. The last thing that I had read by him was the second Skyward book, and I did not like it, Sam I Am. So even though I've loved practically everything Sanderson has ever come out with up till that point, I was feeling kind of meh about the whole thing. I'm looking forward to continuing on with the rest of the secret projects. So coming in at a 4.5 out of 5 stars, if you're in the mood for a lighthearted, fun fantasy read that actually goes somewhere meaningful, like, this is your jam. It's really good. We read this for Patreon Book Club, and I give my patrons the option to give me like a 1-sentence review of their thoughts of it that I'd like to include. So Sonia says, cozy fantasy, but make it Sanderson style. Alice said, Tress sets out on a grand yet pressing adventure that not only changes her life, but the lives of those she meets in this fun, clever, and delightful book. Delightful is the right word. Let's talk about other books you might like. If you're kind of new to Sanderson, the fun factor of the magic system and the standalone quality, I think Warbreaker is an excellent match. This was such a fun read. I read the annotated version, which had the author explaining like his thought process for what he was trying to do in each chapter, and I thought it was awesome. This is a pretty good comparison. Ship of Magic, if you want fantasy novels with like adventures on the high seas at its absolute finest, like, you can't go wrong with the Robin Hobb book. But basically, if you liked all of the dynamics between the characters on the boat, but want it leveled up considerably, like, this was amazing. Graceling by Kristen Cashore. Tress didn't feel YA to me, but a lot of the elements you can find in a really good YA fantasy, and I thought this one was a lovely story as well. Both felt kind of wholesome, so if you liked Tress, I think you'll like this one as well. Cool magic system in here too. Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. I found a very similar atmosphere in that story. A lot of story components felt similar, and even though it was my least favorite Abercrombie, it was still like in the upper tier of some of the YA that I've read, so I think you'd really like that one, especially if you like the swashbuckling aspect of Tress. And Ship of Smoke and Steel by Django Wexler. I've only read this first book, but it was a fun story. If you liked Tress but you wanted it a little moodier, then here's your pick. So that's the review. I'd like to take a minute to thank my patrons. Thank you for reading this one with me. I'm glad you made me pick it up. And thank you in general for all of your support. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Bye.